Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 2, Episode 38, where we watch Finding Bigfoot, Season 5, Episode 5, I think. And I'm Chris Lorenz. Sitting to my right is...
Robert Kitts.
Max Squatch.
Harrison Hoffman.
James.
And we have a special guest tonight.
Scott Wolf.
Welcome, Scott. And I don't want to say this, but I'm disappointed in you because the show was garbage.
Man, you just did not waste any time there.
I am so shocked by this because I was sneaking some peeks to the right, and you seem to be having a pretty good time. So I think we should get to the bottom of this because I'm not convinced.
Get the thermal camera out.
Get the therm out.
Oh my God.
All right, Harrison, hit us with the deets here.
4 eccentric but passionate investigators embark on one single-minded mission to find the elusive Bigfoot. Watch as the team uncovers startling evidence of the mysterious and highly intelligent enigma both here and abroad. That's Finding Bigfoot on Animal Planet. Insane.
I think this might be our first Animal Planet show.
I was just going to ask that. I think it is. Has to be.
do
Rob,
we,
what do
do
you
we
say?
have to ban Animal Planet now?
Oh my God.
Whoa.
We'll decide that later in the podcast. I think this is the first Animal Planet one.
It's gotta
It's
be,
not
right?
coming to mind.
Yeah.
Welcome
pretty
to
sure.
the folds.
Animal Planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go.
All right, Scott, explain your backstory with the show and, why we picked it. Or we let you pick as a guest.
Yeah. Thank you for calling it a backstory, not an obsession. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's so the reason I like it is generally it's on, I think, Sunday nights at like 9 p.m. Central. So kind of when like the Sunday scaries are hitting a little bit and you want something sort of mindless to watch, just watch 4 scientists go into the woods across the country with so-called experts, and they just basically knock trees and howl into the night. And then every rustle or animal in the woods confirms the fact that Bigfoots definitely exist. And each time you get to learn something new and exciting, like what they smell like, what they like to eat, every bizarre preference that you could ever imagine. So it's really a great way to build up a good base knowledge of these creatures that may or may not exist.
Quick side note: not our first Animal Planet show.
Oh.
Ice Lake Rebels.
Oh.
No.
Okay. To be fair, there's nothing animal about that.
How much animal is there about finding Bigfoot? Really?
I mean, they run into a lot of animals in the woods.
Did they?
They were doing some tracking. They were poking
pretended
shit.
they ran into a lot of
That's
animals.
That dude was poking the pile of shit for a while.
He definitely-
Like that's an actual thing that happened. You can't.
I
You can't
cannot
say
deny
like
that happened.
That happened.
Sometimes you just got to poke some poop, guys. Direct quote.
That is.
I think
can't-
like it's taking inspiration from the great Jurassic Park scene where there's like the truck-sized pile of poop and they all go study it and learn everything about it. That's
Yeah.
the best.
Good scene.
Where it
Good
came
scene.
from.
Oh my God.
So are these actual scientists?
I think Renee.
I can't
In
imagine.
what regard?
Like what's their qualifications? Are we kind of looking at here?
Yeah,
I
can we
would
see their
suspect
credentials?
that Renee has a bachelor's of science.
In like what?
Who knows?
In what? Okay.
She was some kind of field biologist.
Sure.
Is
Yeah.
that what
you,
I
That
think
was
it
her.
listed
That was her
as?
caption.
you do
Yeah.
not get the title field biologist by just like self-applying it. You can't just say like, "Yo, I'm a field biologist."
Yeah, like how does
now.
one become a field biologist? I guess
You just study biology in school and then you practice it in the field.
okay. So she's like got a bachelor of science in biology is the theory.
I think what we came up with a little bit too is that they just subscribe to the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours. That by just doing this for so long, they can become experts, basically.
They have to be right. Like they have to be considered experts.
Who's more of an expert than them?
Do you have to be what is it the BFRO to be an expert? Like are only experts
No,
allowed in the BFRO?
So is BFRO a Wisconsin thing or is this a
No, it's
national
the
thing?
Bigfoot Research Organization. I don't know that for sure.
I think
but
it's
it
a
makes
world
lot of sense.
organization.
Okay.
I think
No,
it's
no, just America.
like they have local chapters. I think it's like a national thing with local chapters.
Okay.
Or it's just some website like the Nightclub Hall of Fame.
Oh. So you think that these towns that they're visiting are just local chapters of the BFRO?
Yeah.
That like
She's the secretary of the national BFRO in some random place in Wisconsin.
no idea. Insane. It's
Where's the
crazy.
BFRO headquartered?
That-
Like
question.
Seattle, hopefully.
oh shit.
That's a
Offices
good-
are downtown Manhattan.
you have
Like,
to go. Like if they are here,
If
right?
it's close by, I'd love to.
Yeah. That's
All right. Somebody want to key up what happens in the beginning of this episode? I don't remember. Anything.
Okay.
Nothing important happens in this episode.
I feel like we need to talk about some bigger issues with this show. Like, is it a reality show or not?
That's
Like,
Let's usually. let's
I kinda-
table that till after.
I kind of want to talk about
I
that.
think we got to
I kinda
unpack
wanna
it
talk
though.
about
Like,
it.
nobody that hasn't watched the show knows what we're talking about yet.
Oh my
okay.
God.
So
Okay,
basically,
okay,
these
okay,
four
okay.
guys
Okay.
roll up in like
Well, no,
a Chevy
there's
Suburban.
3 guys, 1 lady.
I use guys as like a general.
Oh, as like a y'all.
like a y'all. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's 3 insane dudes and Renee roll up, and
That's
they're
a
like,
great way to actually sum this up, I think.
Yeah.
It is 3 dudes and Renee. 3 crazy dudes and Renee.
they roll up and they're like, yeah, we're gonna find some squatches. This is some squatchy country right here. Squatchy is apparently a adjective. It means to be squatch friendly. And then what do they do next? They go to the town hall.
No. They went out in the woods in the middle of the night and started hooting.
So if I could interject though, generally the first thing is going to a town hall, but it sounded like for this one they've just been getting a lot of phone calls from people, so
Okay.
they just went right out into the field.
Oh, shit.
Usually it's the town hall first, so you get to meet like the really colorful local folks, and then they dive into the field stuffs.
Hey Scott, can you talk more to the mic?
Oh, more into it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I love the local town halls. It's like somebody's got to walk us through that because like it's just a wonderful.
We didn't
It's like
get
in
there
the
yet.
local barn.
We're
no,
they're still in the
the
woods.
setup shot. Oh my god.
Like
What were the name of the 2 people they originally met in the woods? Do we know? Or
Like the
I don't know.
like
I
the
just know
Dopka
that they
family,
were-
the couple.
Yeah, the couple.
Yeah, like the Dopka family, I think.
Like,
So they meet this couple in the woods that had a close encounter with a real Bigfoot when they were in their tent.
Oh yes.
It's,
Oh, man.
it definitely sounded like she was just reciting a memorized speech, like for this segment.
Or there
like,
was just wind. You know, there was wind on their tent. Like that's literally what it sounded like to me.
yeah, I mean,
They also said they were running around the woods with glow sticks, which is like, what the fuck are you doing?
Middle of nowhere, Wisconsin,
Like,
dude. I don't know what they're
fuck are you
doing.
doing?
Running around the
high
woods with
people.
no glow sticks.
Have you ever tried it, Chris?
It was their whole family was running around the woods with glow sticks, and they ran into a Sasquatch.
They sure
It's
did.
their story.
Yeah. I thought the stories came out at the town hall, which is why.
No, they told one story before
Oh, they
the
still
town hall.
okay.
That's
Got
right.
it.
That was the first
And
note
then
I have. From
we
this
had our
episode.
first reenactment.
Oh yeah,
and the reenactments,
show.
we definitely gotta get into this. So this show has quite the CGI budget, where people are telling their stories, and there's these bad CGI Sasquatches interacting with the environment. So they had this CGI Sasquatch shaking a tent as this guy's telling the story of, I was in my tent and started shaking. It must have been a Bigfoot.
I love that he's like, yeah, he did it for about 10 minutes and then he just walked away.
It was 90 seconds.
90
it must have been a Bigfoot.
must have been.
It's obviously a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like they just copied and pasted every episode. Like they don't. I don't think they actually do much CGI into this at all.
Oh no, the scenes are very different each
Yeah,
episode.
no.
Every story is completely different.
That was CGI'd with their actual tent. It
And with
looked
those
like their
people.
tent.
Like they do the reenactments.
But
I think that's
I
the whole
am-
thing.
Disappointed in humanity that this show has the budget
Oh yeah.
to do anything with CGI at all.
I mean, they're clearly reusing only one Sasquatch model every time, and like,
Yeah, but the fact that they have the budget to make the CGI Sasquatch and have the people to pay to put him in scenes, which I mean, it's obviously not expensive.
no, dude,
But-
it's just Andy Serkis.
Oh my
So
god.
Did they get a win an
when
Emmy
we were
for this?
seeing these reenactments, was anyone reminded of the upcoming Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie Rampage, when Dwayne Johnson interacts with a CGI gorilla?
The CGI gorilla looked pretty good though, comparatively.
Comparatively, I don't know.
I think this CGI Sasquatch, the yellow eyes, man. Gotta look at those
We'll
yellow
get to the
eyes.
yellow
That's how you know.
Well, they're not always yellow eyes.
They're not.
No. They were like red last episode.
No, they were yellow because that was the story from the girl.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
but then Renee immediately started debunking it with the owl,
owl,
talk,
yeah. Right,
which
right,
I
right.
think that caught the girl off guard. She thought her story was airtight.
Well, we haven't gotten to that. Subject. I have a story before we get to the town hall.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There was some point where somebody made their first Sasquatch, like, this is a detail about the Sasquatch, obviously. And the expert said, yeah, kind of. That's a photo. It was something with a photograph.
Oh,
You remember
yeah.
the photograph where he, like, totally
Yeah.
denied it, but that's a photograph.
Yeah, he's like it was a photograph of like a footprint. And there's like, yeah, I can't really tell, like I can't really confirm that there's digits there, but I can confirm that that's a photograph. Just like,
It was a toe detail. That's
oh
what
my
he was
god,
drilling
toe
in
detail.
on.
Yeah.
So after they
Insane.
talk to this couple, they're like, we got to explore these woods tonight because there's definitely a Bigfoot here. And they get all this gear, and they have these things I haven't seen on reality shows in a while where they have these sort of poles on their shoulders so a camera hangs right in front of their face so you can get shots of all their faces, which
Yeah.
was really like, I thought those were gone in like 2007 from reality shows, but apparently Finding Bigfoot is keeping it going.
They have bought all the equipment from the old reality shows, so they're doing it on the cheap.
I see. Animal Planet spent all the money on the CGI.
Yeah.
Didn't have money for cameras.
Exactly.
Well, you need cameramen if you have cameras. So, like,
Oh.
this way they don't need cameramen.
They also had cameramen because
So they had, like, one. They
had
don't
one.
need one per person.
They didn't need one.
Like,
per-
half, I think, 20 minutes of the show is shots of their faces.
Yeah, that's true.
Would
So,
you
like-
prefer it be just of the dark woods with nothing else, though? Like, what else are they going to capture out there? Just their reactions to thinking they see things, right?
I feel like this is a YouTube channel, and this is 5 minutes and not 42 minutes.
But all the advertising dollars.
I mean, clearly they've made it 5 seasons. Like they're
I
doing
understand
something.
that they have an audience. And I maybe some of the audience is in this room or listening to this podcast, but I don't understand.
Have we talked about Bobo yet?
Let's talk about Bobo.
Oh my god. What's that? What's that guy's deal? Like, can somebody give me the history
Scott,
of Bobo?
what's Bobo's deal?
He's an MIT guy, obviously.
MIT
What?
guy.
No, none of that is true. None of that is true.
Got me.
The only fact I really have of Bobo is that since I started watching the show and now, he has probably lost 100 pounds and cut off a lot of really long hair, and now he just looks like a really normal dude. Highly recommend before and after Bobo pictures.
Normal dude, you'd say.
Well, until he starts talking potentially, and then
the
it's
hat,
like
though?
it's like the monotone voice of someone who's had half their brain removed. I think.
Yeah, it kind of. Yeah.
I mean, presumably you should see a picture of him, and if you look at our like description,
yeah.
because he's making some crazy faces in this episode.
There are a lot of crazy faces. What's that other guy's name? The
I
main
still
guy.
like Bobo's hat.
Oh, the other guy who's really excited about explaining everything.
Yeah, the guy who's in like the blue jumpsuit for the
Oh
entire
wait,
thing.
is that the guy with the beard?
It's
That's
Cliff.
the guy I'm thinking about.
No,
with
not
the
Cliff.
faces.
Yeah,
Matt.
Cliff. Yeah, Cliff
Yeah.
is one, and
No,
then
Cliff wasn't the one in the jumpsuit.
Mike?
Cliff was the one that spent
Mike
the time
was
all
it?
by himself.
Right.
it's Cliff Barackman. I know that because I
Right.
watched
So
the show
it's not
too much.
Cliff.
I think
it's
it's
the
guy in
other
the
guy.
jumpsuit.
Matt? There's a guy in a jumpsuit named Matt.
That sounds right. Is that
I'll,
right?
I'll look it
He's
up.
like the main guy, right? It's like
all
he's
four
like,
of
he's
them
like the president
are
of
considered
the.
I think Bobo's actually the main
Bobo's
guy.
the main guy. Is
But yeah,
He was the
okay.
guy with the goatee, right? That had the crazy facial expressions
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
woods. Okay.
yeah.
The one who said that is a picture.
That is a photograph.
Well, how did he describe the yoo-hoos? What was his
Sultry.
He was the guy talking about the sultry
yeah.
yoo-hoos.
Yeah.
Max, can you tell us about these yoo-hoos?
All right. So basically, sorry, let's reel it back in. They go out in the woods at night with these 2 randos, and they say, "Hey, Renee, remember when you did those sultry yoo-hoos?" And she's like, "No, I have no idea what you're talking about." And he's like, "Yoo-hoo!" And she's like, "Oh, that one. That wasn't very sultry." And it's like, you can make it sultry. So she does it, and it's just like an insane person yodeling. It's weird. Not very sultry.
I don't understand why Sasquatches would be attracted to people making sound in the woods.
Dude,
Because they're intrigued by human behavior,
it's
Chris.
so
They
sultry.
explain this in the show.
They're
Wait,
in tr-
I think they're trying to mimic the sounds that they make to make them think that they're their
I know
friends.
the one guy is definitely doing that, but not the yoo-hoo and not like them saying give me a B, you know,
What about
later.
the glow sticks?
The glow sticks, like,
So I agree with Chris. There's a lot of things where they're like, we need to make noise to get the Sasquatch to come. We need to have a lot of light and sound. We need to have smells so the Bigfoot comes. And everything I've heard about being in the woods is the more you do that, every animal will stay farther away from you.
yeah, I feel like that they do it so that they're safer filming in the middle of these woods to keep all the animals away.
I hadn't
So
even
they're
thought of
like,
that.
You know, you gotta get our insurance policy down a little bit.
And when they said
So
there was a
our
bunch of
CG
bears
budget.
rolling around in these woods, yeah, you don't want to just be walking through the woods in the middle of the night with bears.
Shit's wild.
Yeah,
It's true.
That might
I
be
can't believe
might be
it.
the goal there.
Chris, I think you cracked it. You solved something I really didn't understand. Why they weren't going the other way and being like, gotta be quiet. We gotta like make sure we're listening really good so we can hear the Bigfoot coming.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's got to be it.
But
Like-
what kind of show would this be if they're just sitting there listening? Like, that wouldn't be a show either. Like, there's
why you
many
gotta do
reasons
stuff.
why you don't just be silent, but you'd be silent to find a Sasquatch.
I guess that's true. It's much better TV with them yoo-hooing and frying up brats, as we'll get to.
So,
Quick timeout. Matt Moneymaker.
Matt
What?
Moneymaker.
that's
Great
stage
name.
I don't know his stage name, but that's what he is in IMDb. And if you Google Matt Moneymaker, that's our guy.
That's
Wow.
insane.
That's the guy with the crazy facial expressions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in this woods is the first time they bring up inchworming, by the way.
Oh, inchworming.
Which,
So is inchworming something that they talk about on multiple episodes of the show?
I've never seen or
Okay.
heard of them talk about it. No.
Okay.
I feel like inchworming is like a thing you'd hear about on the Pickup Artist.
Oh man.
all right. So, inchworming is apparently this tactic that they use this episode where they have two groups of people. One group moves at once, and the other group stays still. And then when they're at some point they stop, then the other group catches up, so that if anyone is like around or following, they will hear them. They don't like
Foolproof.
double
Inchworming.
back around like a normal human being to see if somebody's following you or not. They're just doing this retarded inchworming thing.
Is inchworming a military term, you think?
No.
Anything's possible.
I think it's a Wisconsin term for whatever this is at the BFRO.
At the Wisconsin BFRO.
Yeah.
So what would they call it at like the Texas BFRO? What's the Texas version of inchworming?
I don't know if
Stalking.
anyone else does inchworming because there's not really a whole lot of need for it.
everything's bigger in Texas, so it's going to be foot worming.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
So, like, if somebody is following you and
Yeah.
you stopping, would that mean that, like, they're going to stop too? Like, are they, like, following you because you're making a lot of noise? Like, I still don't understand how you're going to catch a Bigfoot by, like, this at all.
You're trying to apply logic to a thing that defies logic.
This is exactly. I don't know. Okay, go to the town hall, James.
Hollis.
I don't know. You look at me
Scotty.
on this one.
Just explain the town hall.
Like,
take it away.
The rundown. Yeah, so I guess the local chapters organize a town hall, which is almost always in a high school gym and or some sort of bizarre tax-funded facility like that.
Sure.
And they say, just raise your hand if you've seen a Sasquatch. And then almost everyone in the room obviously says they've seen it, and you get to have everyone tells their story basically, probably I'm assuming during the town hall, and then they cut down the most interesting ones and give them all the airtime, which is weird because in this episode it was like halfway through. Usually it's the beginning when you meet all of these very interesting characters, like from the movie Fargo basically. But no, that's how you meet all the people, and then they give the reenactment, and then they go to their home or wherever. So it sort of sets it all up in a great way.
I really like the guy who gave his own howl.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting howl, not like anything I've heard on the show.
The only thing was he got zero airtime except for that howl that
Right.
they replayed like 3 or 4 times.
So they do that, and I can't really repro it here. But then the other guy's like, "Oh yeah, I've definitely heard that."
Oh yeah, and it's a still shot, a close up, zooming in on the camera right on his face.
That was Bobo, right? Who said that?
That was Bobo.
that's like maybe my favorite thing of the show is that like when somebody says something that's like kind of sounds like maybe I guess like if you kind of squint like maybe that sounds plausible and everyone just takes it as like just a matter of fact. It's just like, oh yeah, of course everyone knows that Bigfoots do whatever. Everyone knows Bigfoot throw rocks in the water.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
What was the other one? Like knock on trees.
yeah, the
and
rocks in the water.
They love the smell of brats for some reason.
That's why I always think it's the most entertaining when kids are the ones who do the reenactments because they're so easily persuaded that the kid reenactor could be like, it was right over by that bush right there. And they go, you sure it wasn't that much bigger one? They go, yeah, it was definitely that much bigger one. You're right. So like the kids and they can all be so easily persuaded into however these like obviously pro Bigfoot people want it to appear in these stories.
They just want to believe so badly that Bigfoot exists, and they're just willing to throw all reason out the window.
You just start taking everything as fact, and it becomes a lot easier to believe it. But what I really love during some of these reenactments is when they get Bobo to act as the stand-in Sasquatch, because he's like over 6 foot tall, I guess, or something, right?
I think he's like 6'3" or 6'4",
right. And everyone knows Sasquatches are 8 feet
Right.
in case for those that you didn't know.
So he
Everyone-
goes there, and
everyone-
he
this
says,
is
You just
fact.
pulled a Finding Bigfoot right there.
Finding what now?
everybody knows.
Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Everyone knows this
Right,
random
right,
detail
right.
Right.
about a Sasquatch wasn't real. Like, everyone knows.
Everyone knows. It was
Did he do
8
the
feet tall.
thing this episode?
He's like,
where
yeah, so it was about this tall, right? And like, well, I guess one of the lady's backstory. So one of the town people, like, is driving along on one of these roads, like a little 2-lane highway, comes up and crests a little hill, and at some point she sees off in a distance, lo and behold, a Bigfoot running across the road and leaps a good 20 feet and lands with 2 feet in a ditch before it disappears into the woods. Of course, she calls her husband. Husband's like, "You're crazy." She's like, "Oh no, what'd she say?" It was like, "Oh no way, you're not gonna believe this." And she's like, "Oh Yahweh, there's a Bigfoot." I'm telling you.
It was a Bigfoot.
She says it's a Bigfoot. He goes, "No way." And she goes, "Yahweh."
Thank you, Rob. That's definitely much better. And yeah, so they come and track it anyways. So they get Bobo to do the reenactment. He's like,
But then
I gotta. Oh, go
he
for it.
saw the same Bigfoot later, like a few days later, and they know it was the same Bigfoot.
Oh, right.
for reasons that are unclear.
Right.
He
And
tracked him.
then they decide to get Bobo to reenact.
Right, because of that 20-foot jump from the. I guess there was a footprint, one single footprint off the side of the road, like kind of where the gravel is, and then there's about a 20-foot grass kind of gap,
It
and
was
that's where
there,
the next set of footprint were.
but it wasn't when we were filming. There was no footprint there. They just said
Right.
it was there.
Sure. This is the reenactment from the story. Yeah, so Bobo goes for the jump. Did he make it? I can't remember.
He rolled.
I think so.
Surprisingly.
He like kind of
Pretty
rolled.
far.
He like kind of rolled into that ditch. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
He, like,
yeah.
he went down.
I was
Capacity,
definitely worried
right?
he'd injured himself on that, but he
100%.
seemed to pop back up pretty okay.
I feel like he kind of like rolled out of it, just kind of like landed
Yeah.
and rolled and
Yeah.
So
Stop,
what I
drop,
kind
and
of
roll.
what I kind of missed from this is what did he prove with that? Did he prove it was more likely a Bigfoot, or did he prove it was less likely a Bigfoot?
Well, I
didn't
think-
really get the
I think
end
he
game
proved
of
it was
him leaping into
definitely
a ditch.
Bigfoot.
Well, I think that he said that he almost made it to where the Bigfoot would have landed. So if you were about 2 feet taller, say the size of a Bigfoot, then maybe you could get that little bit of extra distance.
Because
to
we all
land there.
know how tall a Bigfoot is.
Yeah, 8
we all
feet.
know that
8
they
feet.
like to use one step when crossing over a street. We all know that. That's common Bigfoot knowledge.
Right.
But
Just accepts that.
in this episode, I think it was during the town hall. Somebody said they saw a 4-foot Bigfoot.
Yeah, that was a juvenile.
We all know that's a juvenile.
Come on, Chris,
What?
keep up.
I
Chris, you
just-
gotta
they didn't
keep
say
up.
It was a juvenile. They just said it was a Bigfoot.
Everyone just knows this because it was only 4 foot tall.
Well,
I'm not sure you're not
I
getting
don't
this.
know. I just.
Oh my god.
I also like that this whole story went nowhere. They were like, they went out to this field. They went out to the side of the road. The dude fucking jumped, and they fucking went to a different story.
Like, all right, no, well,
Like-
it's like they're trying to get breadcrumbs along the way. There's like,
Breadcrumbs
okay,
of what?
we proved that Bigfoot was there and
Like-
jumped across the road.
The dude was like, "Yeah, I tracked him over here." Like,
Yeah.
They go follow the tracks. They go find the footprints. No.
Part of
Didn't do
this
any of
is
that
just
shit.
documenting the sighting. That's the
Like,
whole thing.
in many cases here, these stories are like 2-3 years old.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's any evidence that could possibly be discovered. It's just like it's done.
All right, I got a theory. Bobo, One might say he's changed his appearance quite a bit recently, correct?
That's true. Yeah.
He's about the height of perhaps a juvenile Sasquatch, is he not?
He's a little tall, but
Yeah.
He can jump into a ditch just like a Sasquatch.
also true.
Do you see what I'm getting at?
he's got a Sasquatch costume somewhere.
And
No,
you know Sasquatches love beer and brats. At
Yeah.
least the smell of beer and
And-
brats.
Bobo also loves beer and brats. I'm saying is Bobo a Sasquatch and he doesn't know it.
No, he's wearing the hat that says Sasquatch style. He's trying to live the lifestyle of
Self-
Sasquatch.
he's self-aware.
I think
Okay.
he's a
He's
Sasquatch.
become self-aware.
Jesus.
I was just like, what if they infiltrated us?
You got to keep up, Max. I don't know what you're doing.
Max, do you think BFRO is half Big Feet or Bigfoot? That's a good question,
Damn
actually.
it.
What?
What is the plural of a Bigfoot? Is it Bigfoots or Big Feet?
Or big feet.
I think it's foots.
I think it's just squatches. They just kept
It's
saying
just a squatch.
squatches.
Oh, so
Despite the show being called Finding Bigfoot, they basically just always call it squatches.
Yeah.
Right?
Except for the BFRO.
Yeah, BSR. Yeah, I don't know.
They mention
Or
Bigfoot
SRO.
sometimes, for sure.
Oh, I have a.
I think the terms
I
are like
mean-
interchangeable, essentially.
I mean, I kind of think it would have to be Big Feet. I think it would kind of have to be Big Feet, though.
I know,
No, because a
Bigfoot's-
Bigfoot has big feet.
Yeah, I guess.
I have a quote here from when he jumped. Okay.
Hit me.
I don't know I forget which guy said it. It's not important. He said, if Ray Charles was here, he would see it. And you gotta believe Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think that might be the dumbest line I've ever heard in any reality show
Yeah.
we've watched.
It's crazy on so many levels.
If Ray Charles could see this, he would turn
No,
it
no,
off.
no. If Ray Charles was here,
Yeah.
he would see it.
You would see it.
And you have to believe Ray Charles.
You gotta believe it. I don't, you know.
Oh my god.
Not sure why you're questioning this logic.
You put words in Ray Charles' mouth to begin with, and then you're saying the words you put in there, you believe him.
Because he's
believe
saying
it.
them.
Like,
He's
but you
saying
put the
them.
words in there.
It's just like
He's a trustworthy guy.
I don't have any
Ray
reason not to
Charles.
trust him. I
I should try to start using this more. Like, if Chris isn't there, I'd be like, if Chris was here, he'd say this. Are you going to not believe Chris?
Right.
It's really good.
Dude, this is great. We've got to start using
This
this.
opened up a whole new world.
all right. So the other story that they go deep into from the town hall was this, I guess, teenager.
I'm going to say
Oh.
13.
That was
Pretty
not
young.
a good story.
Yeah, she's
story
like
was
outside
lame.
on her porch making a raucous
A yell. She does a Sasquatch yell.
Yeah, in the show, she does
was
a
trying to
racket.
call the Bigfoot.
whatever. I don't know what she's trying to do. She sees like some yellow eyes in the night, and then that's Bigfoot, obviously.
Right.
Obviously. Look at
Wow,
that.
what a story,
The CGI
Mark.
made it pretty clear that was Bigfoot with yellow eyes.
Then there's also a path that they go through where there is a Bigfoot footprint
Correct.
that is still there
That she took a photo of the footprint this time
with her foot.
And it's
with her
definitely
foot
a photo.
next to it.
And she says nobody ever walks barefoot in this yard. But in the photo, she's barefoot.
You
Well,
are correct, Max.
James cracked the code.
I can't believe it.
She claims that there was thorns around there.
Yeah.
But where they were standing, there were no thorns.
It was kind of like a muddy mix of dirt and grass, but mostly a little bit muddy.
Like, there were berry bushes over at the side, but you
Correct.
could clearly walk and avoid the berry bushes.
right. So there's like a walking
right
path.
next to where the footprint was.
Oh, totally.
But James definitely did like open all our eyes the fact that her foot was barefoot right after she claimed no one's ever there barefoot. So
Right.
a lot of holes in the story.
Lots of holes.
Definitely.
And then
But
Renee
it's clearly a footprint. And
and
so
it's clearly a photo.
we have a photo. Must have been Bigfoot.
Although Renee was a little skeptical of yellow eyes, trying to figure out if it could have been an owl.
Correct.
But then they had a special helper come. The secretary of the local BFRO was helping them out. And the secretary pointed out there wasn't a good branch at that height. So I guess it really was Bigfoot.
She was trying to bail the kid out. Insane.
Definitely no
but like,
bias there.
here's the thing. When did that story happen? It was like a year ago or something, right? Like it was.
They said that was the most recent.
Oh no, you're
Sasquatch
right.
thing.
It
The
was like
other
she was like
one
10 days ago or
was
some shit.
like, I don't know. They never really said when the last one.
Who knows?
It was never.
Nuts.
That's-
Unbelievable.
that's when it happened.
So when do we? I think that was it for the stories, right?
Yeah.
And then they go to, like, the
do some
hilltop?
bullshit in the woods again.
Well, they go to like the fire lookout station or whatever, which is like the highest point in the woods, and then they climb like a tower that's
Well,
like way
some
the
of
hell
them
up
climb
there.
a tower.
So, yeah, so they kind of break up into a couple different groups, right? So
Well,
there's Bobo and
Before they climb the tower, what do they do?
Oh, okay. So everyone knows that Sasquatches are intrigued by human behavior.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows. Yeah.
And so, what do people do when they're out in the woods? Well, naturally, when you're in Wisconsin, you got to cook up some beer brats and you got to have some cheese.
Everybody knows Wisconsin Squatches love beer brats and cheese.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone
so,
knows that.
so clearly, they're like, well, it's not dark yet. We got about an hour or two. I guess we should just have a little cookout.
This is the lamest cookout I think I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah.
There were 0 side dishes.
Yeah, it
If
was
you
just
noticed
cheese and
that.
brats.
There was
It had
cheese.
cheese.
There was cheese,
Oh, yeah.
brats, and beer. There was nothing
I
to go
mean,
with it.
that's kind of what we had
Did
tonight for dinner
we
too.
had
So
buns?
there were some
Buns.
buns involved.
There
Yeah,
were
there's
2
buns.
different types of cheese. There was curds and regular cheese.
Yeah, they had
Yeah.
stinky cheese.
Oh,
I
yeah.
kind
Stinky
of want some of those
cheese.
curds, though. That'd have been pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I
So-
could have brought some.
The way they
damn.
cooked these things was they just had like a hot plate with a giant pot on it. So they're not
No,
even-
it was a burner. It was like a stovetop burner. It's like the little Coleman
that's what
stovetops.
a hot-
Coleman, everybody, they have a great deal today on burners. I don't know.
Regardless, they just cooked these brats in this pot and then ate it. They didn't.
Yeah, that's how you. I mean, that's one way to cook brats.
Yeah, I mean, you can't cook brats that way.
yeah.
But like, that's not a barbecue. It's not a cookout. You're just like,
They're-
It's like the-
so you're telling me
it's
they
like
didn't cook
lamest.
out. They didn't cook out. They clearly were cooking out.
There was something in the cookout that bolsters Max's theory because they were like, the Sasquatch loves stinky cheese, but no one wanted to eat the stinky cheese.
Oh.
Except Bobo.
Oh, that's true, actually.
Oh.
that's pretty good. The signs were all there.
He's hiding
Yeah.
in plain
It
sight.
was Bobo all along.
Yeah, so they're eating. I guess at some point it gets dark, right? And so they break off in some groups.
3 groups.
3 groups. So there's Bobo and Money.
No, Bobo
Money
and the
maker?
local guy.
The which guy?
Bobo and the local guy
Some local
were the
guy,
ones
okay.
who went up.
So they're going up the
tower.
Firewatch Tower.
Let's go up the Firewatch Tower. Then Matt Moneymaker and Cliff pair off to sort of hang back
And trail the girls.
and trail Renee and the 2 local girls who are the sort of bait, I guess, for lack of a better word. And they're doing all these things to attack Sasquatches, including making random noise and wearing and throwing around glow sticks.
Oh my
the
god.
glow sticks are bad guys.
They're also saying, "Give me a B, B, give me an I."
Oh, we gotta go. We gotta move it. This
Yeah.
is
Give me a
Bigfoot.
G.
We got
So
it. We got it. We don't need to. It was already painful
The
enough.
best part, like Renee was trying to sound into it, and the other 2 definitely seemed like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Renee knows what has to be done for the show. The other 2 don't give a fuck.
That's right.
So to be clear, though, all the show is right now at this point is like these 6 people out in the middle of the woods in the middle of the night, just walking around making a bunch of noise. That's
And making
about
a
all
lot
that's
of
happening.
noise, wearing a lot of lights.
Oh,
Yeah.
but what
With
important
thermal
piece of
cams.
equipment do they have? You're right on.
They've got like the finest thermal cams on the market,
The
except
therm.
if it gets foggy, and then they just don't work. That was like the one thing they kept saying, like, "Oh, it's so foggy, we can't use these."
So does fog actually impact thermal cams? Is that a thing?
It's
I
possible.
I don't think so.
However, they
I can see
also they implied that fog impacts how far your voice carries, and that seems very wrong to
No,
me.
they were
That
just
was the
so
wind.
high up
Yeah.
in that watchtower where they wouldn't be able to see anything anyway. And it was windy, so you're not going to be able to scream and hear it on the ground.
And all they had to do was walk downstairs to a bunch of beers and brats, and they just immediately started eating and drinking until everyone came back to the camp. That was their night.
Yeah.
Except while they were down at base camp,
What'd they hear?
they heard a Sasquatch.
They definitely did, and I think it was Bobo that was eating his brat still, with brat half in his mouth, going, "There's definitely a Sasquatch, and it's moving counterclockwise around the camp."
Wait, was this also the one where a thermal cam picked up a rock?
Yeah,
Yep.
he stared at that rock for 20
What was
minutes
that?
before he knew it was a
At
rock.
one point, they thought that they were onto something,
no.
and it in fact was a rock.
That actually wasn't this. That was Cliff's solo adventure we
yeah.
didn't talk about.
Oh, that's right. On
That
his,
was early in the episode.
Oh
That-
my god, it was
so-
so great
but
though.
other
Doesn't-
than
it
that,
doesn't
it's a
So
matter.
Cliff
rock.
skips the town hall because he needs to stay in the area they spend the first night because he feels there's a lot going on here. He's got to go deep. And then we just see one shot of him at night staring at a rock for 20 minutes and one shot of him at the day poking bear poop with a stick. And explaining how this tells him a lot about a Sasquatch.
Dude, he was just drinking beer for those 20 minutes. That's all he was doing.
My God.
I think that's most of what's going on. Like, he's just like,
They were really intoxicated by the end of this episode. Like, visibly intoxicated.
Seemed
Bobo
like
was, for sure. Bobo had several hours.
Bobo rolled up to the set drunk for this show. Come on.
Bobo's the mastermind of this show, I think.
Oh.
I think
Bobo
that
just had a
Bobo,
good-
it together.
Like, Bobo had a
I
great
think that
performance.
Bobo writes this show.
I think
Like,
Bobo is the show.
Like, I think Bobo puts himself on team stay in the tower. Goes in the tower. He's like, oh, it's high up here. Oh, it's windier than I thought up here. Does one like Sasquatch call. It's like, did you hear my Sasquatch call on the radio? They're like, no. He's like, guess you just gotta go drink the beer rods. And then he's even like, they have him like, hey, there's something over there. Go check it out. As soon as the guy walks away, he grabs another prize.
So good.
Oh my
He's
God.
definitely the mastermind. I can't. Oh man, so good.
100%.
Well, the show ends with, that was definitely a Sasquatch. And
Well,
we'll see
no.
you guys next time.
First they say, oh, that thing we saw on the therm, I think it was a rat. Anyway, that was definitely a Sasquatch.
I was wondering, I missed that rat piece. You guys were talking about it. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah, no, they definitely like
Yeah.
the local guy was like, oh, the way it's moving, I think it's definitely a rat. It's not a Sasquatch. And the voiceover is like, it was definitely a Sasquatch.
In what world could you ever think a mouse was a Sasquatch?
Well, so initially they're like, oh, you see that like blip on the therm, right? It looks like it could. It's most likely a head or a hand. Just
Yeah,
like,
most likely.
like
That's right.
most likely. And then he keeps looking at it,
You gotta
and
go
it's the way it's
straight to
moving.
that.
He's like,
It's
no, it's
so
definitely a rat.
wild.
So we had a question about the thermal of. Apparently, Bobo does not show up on the thermal though, because there was a shot where he was pointing the camera at Bobo, and they cut to the thermal.
So wait,
and you
is-
still just see the little red dot.
Is Bobo a vampire then?
Or is he a Sasquatch?
And Sasquatches don't show up on thermal.
Yeah.
Whoa, it's all coming
Oh
together.
my
That's why they haven't been able
God.
to
And that's
capture
why
it.
they haven't gotten him yet.
Oh
Isn't that
my
like the
God.
goal of the show or something? Like
That was
ends
another
with
great
the
point about
outro?
the finale. So
Oh, yeah.
that was definitely a Sasquatch, and we're definitely getting closer to getting that thermal footage evidence we're all waiting for.
Yeah.
It's a very specific statement.
I don't like. Why would I want the thermal? Because that would just lead to more questions. Like, I want the actual video if there's a video, right? Like, if it's a thermal, I'm like, well, that's just some blip that I don't know. It's probably just a dude out there that looks like
Because-
Bobo walking around the woods. Why would I? Why does the thermal? I don't understand why we need the
Why don't
thermal
they
video.
just fake the thermal footage like they do everything else?
That's a great question.
Because then people aren't going to keep tuning in.
Are Sasquatches like really hot creatures or something? Like they like burn.
Everyone
hotter
knows
than
they're
humans?
hot. They're hot. Everyone knows they're
Oh,
hot.
shit.
Everyone knows.
Everyone
that.
knows they're very sultry
Everyone knows.
creatures.
Sultry.
Like their body temp's like 130 or something. We're like, oh, clearly because they're like purple in the therm, we know it's a Sasquatch.
That's right.
I don't know what the colors are, but I know white's hot. I don't know. That's all I got.
Purple sounds cool.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right, James. Give me the ranking. Where's the ranking on this one, James?
Oh, man.
Okay, so there's some things about the show that I don't like, which is a couple of things. So, namely, the recapping constantly. The show's basically done a format that you can walk in at any point in time and just start watching it, which also kind of plays to its benefit because I feel like it's a very flippable show through the channels. Nonetheless, I think it's kind of fun and funny. The more you see, the more you get into it. So I'm gonna go right in the middle on this one, as it's if I was limited to channels and this was on, I would click the button and watch it a little bit. Fun to watch with some buds, and there you go, right in the middle.
Scott, do you know about our rating system?
I don't.
So it's
Basically-
it's essentially a thumbs up, middle, or thumbs down. But in simplified, we do a top third, middle third, bottom third. So we kind of group them into like, would you like be excited to watch this again? Are you like, okay, take it or leave it? Or hell no, this is some bullshit. This is every show that Chris puts everywhere in.
That's not true. If you look at the stats, that's not true.
Do we have a standard like?
We have the
standard
stats.
breakdown.
Standard deviation.
It
Yeah.
used to be true, but Chris is definitely
It's really redeeming
opened
himself.
his
Like season
Horizon.
1, Chris. Certain.
horizons thing.
That's true. Season 1,
Expansive.
Chris.
Season
is
2, Chris. We've watched some interesting shows.
We're up to episode 38. We've had a decent run
Oh,
of season
man.
2 for Chris to expand his
True.
horizons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are we're coming up on the big number soon here too?
I don't know.
Anyways,
I don't know. Anyway,
Ratings.
what ranking would you put for Finding Bigfoot?
I'm going to the top third.
Oh.
I mean, you guys know it's near and dear to my heart. It's one of the very few shows that I record.
interesting. I didn't know this.
auto record all day.
Oh,
Come
man.
on, it's a no-brainer.
Let me make this even more interesting.
Yeah.
In that top third, is it the top, middle, or bottom? It's a 9-point system.
So essentially, one is like the
Why would you
highest.
break it into thirds and then break that third into thirds? Why would you just make it a 1 to a 10? I feel like you overcomplicated the easiest thing ever. Instead of breaking it 1 to 10, break it 1 to 3, and then of those threes, rank those threes 1 to 3. It's the most counterintuitive thing I've ever heard.
That's not counterintuitive at all. I think it's counterintuitive.
Oh,
Shots
So
fired.
anyway, where is it?
It's in the lower third of my top third.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so there's a couple of shows you'd like put above it, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, there are a few
Okay.
more that I more proactively seek out.
I got you.
Sure.
Okay, it sounds like a fair assessment.
Very, very
All right,
fair.
So Scott, tell me a little bit about the rewatchability of this show. Does it kind of get stale seeing the same thing? It sounds like for you the answer is no.
No, it's like a comforting thing for me. It's like going to a chain restaurant in another part of the country. You know that you can eat exactly what you'd get at home. So it's kind of comforting that you can watch any episode and you know exactly what order it's going to be in and whether or not they're going to find a Bigfoot, essentially. If every episode I've watched, they've not found Bigfoot. So like the grand finale is always the same thing. So it's the best.
Are the season finales anything special?
There's just like more of a, I wouldn't say narrative, but they like put more weird novelty things into it. So like they'll do the one we just watched last night to prep was the Four Corners, like the Four Corners of the U.S. And so each person does an individual thing, and it's like twice as long. So
Yeah, like each person's in a different state
Yeah.
of the Four Corners.
so
Like
like
goes
the,
on an
the
excursion.
premieres and like the season finales and stuff will just be longer and with more weird stuff, or they'll travel somewhere more exotic, like they've been to Japan, I think, and China and stuff.
I really like the throwing the rocks into the pond part of that episode that we
Oh
watched
my
last
God.
night. So at some point they're like, "You hear that? Oh, that was clearly a Bigfoot throwing a rock in the water," because they love to do that. We all know this. And so for the next hour, they just get a bunch of
Yeah.
rocks and just throw it in the water.
There was a time lapse. There was like 12:51 a.m., 1:48 a.m., 2:16 a.m. And they just kept showing them throwing rocks into a river.
And then later they just find out it's a bunch of beavers.
yeah.
Oh my
Wait,
god.
they actually just didn't continue to lie that it was a Sasquatch?
No, they found that it was beavers, but everybody knows that Sasquatch love to throw rocks.
Everyone
knows that.
Sasquatches love to hang out near beavers.
All right. This
So,
is
wait, we're backing up. So there's Bigfoot in Japan.
Yeah. They've gone to other countries, but it's always like different names, and it's a slightly different version
Oh, is
of
it like
the same
is it like
thing.
the Yeti?
Yeah, it'll be like, oh, but this one has red eyes. It's like, oh my god, we have to come investigate the red eyes. It's like, that's all they need is like the
red-eyed
one
Squatch.
smallest thing to be different, and they'll go look for it. Basically,
Great.
Come on, Rob. Everyone knows this.
I guess you're right.
Everyone
does
knows.
know that.
Yeah,
I feel like another
Japanese.
fun question as we go around would be like, would you want to be on the show?
Can we get to the ratings first?
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn it.
Rob,
Just want to
ratings.
know.
So I'm going to put in the middle third, although the amount of laughter I did watching this show, I think is one of the highest I've ever done watching any of the shows we've done. But apologies to Scott. I think the rewatchability is kind of poor. I think it's going to get a little stale, so I'm putting in the middle third.
That's legit.
This is bottom tier. Not even close. Like, it's unwatchable. I would have turned this off within 3 minutes, I think.
Ooh man.
The only redeeming factor that this isn't bottom of the bottom, as we would say, is that they had ridiculous quotes that were funny. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's close. Middle tier, bottom of the middle. I'm not. How you doing, Scott?
So, I can follow.
Mid tier, but bottom of that. I am concerned about the rewatchability. This is my second time watching an episode. I was like, I know where this is going, but it's so fucking weird. You gotta watch it at least once, and that's why it's in my middle tier.
It's got to hit the like max checkbox for like, okay, this is weird enough for like to spark some interest, right?
Love that weird.
It definitely checks the max weird box.
Okay, just checking.
I just hate the Sasquatch thing like so much. I hate it. Like, it's not real. Get over it. Move on. We're all gonna go deal with our lives.
Chris-
Like, it pisses me off.
Didn't you want to watch Ghost Hunters International?
I want to see Chris on this show
But
yelling at these people in the town hall. That would be a show that would be funny as
I
shit.
brought up that we hadn't watched any Ghost Hunter shows, and now that we watch this, if you guys are gonna watch one, I'm out. Like, I can't.
Oh my god.
We gotta
Harrison?
find the next local BFRO meeting.
Right.
and
We got to take
crash
Chris
it.
and just
And
get
we
him
gotta
up there and just like, are you fucking kidding me?
You know, we tell them Chris is as a Sasquatch story. Then Chris gets the mic and he just goes off.
I love this idea.
I like it.
I would fund this. I don't know what it would take to get him there, but I am all on board this train.
Yo, I have a Sasquatch story.
Give it to me.
I drank a ton of tequila on my birthday at a music festival called Sasquatch.
Did you see Sasquatch while you were passed out in that field?
Unclear.
Some might say that Max could have been a juvenile Sasquatch. He was just in
Everyone-
that field, it was shirtless. I'm pretty sure.
Everyone knows Sasquatch loves tequila.
Oh yeah, everyone knows.
All right, Harrison, redeem me here.
Oh my god. Here's the thing about this show.
Oh boy.
It's entertaining for sure. But like I don't know that this is a reality show at all. Like I think that
You can segue into this.
it's
'cause I don't think it is either.
it's basically just that these dudes like
And Renee.
and Renee
Three crazy dudes
are
and Renee.
just like writing this show and like they're just going out into the wilderness and shooting themselves and acting in the show, and then like somehow they find all these crazies in all these towns who maybe they believe the stories, maybe they're actors that are acting out stories, and the whole thing's really weird. But I do like the weirdness factor of the whole situation, even though like I don't think it's really a reality show. So I think this is probably going to be bottom of my middle third. I think it's probably in that kind of area.
I was hope you would at that point you would be like disqualify from giving a rating.
Disqualify.
Doesn't deserve.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
So like
I don't understand how it can be real. Like it just
Interesting
All right.
follow point on that is that something I thought of that I forgot to mention is when they do the reenactments, they actually have the same people at the town hall do the reenactments.
for sure.
Other shows I've seen that do reenactments, it's actors doing the reenactments. Does that make it more likely the people at the town hall are actors because then they get them to do the reenactments?
For sure. Like they're willing participants, like they're handed scripts about these stories to act out. Like there's no doubt about that. Like maybe they belong to some local Bigfoot organization and these people just roll into town and they're just like, "Oh, you want to help us out with this Bigfoot thing? Just tell us a story on TV."
Yeah,
Like,
so the one thing I think might be reality of this, I don't really know, is that when they go to the town halls and they get those stories, I feel like those aren't actors given scripts about those stories.
Just
I think
people
those
that
are
wanna
real
be.
people
Yeah.
I
giving
agree.
stories about them, and then that's when I think you can call this more a reality show, because out of those stories they pick something to go and reenact and pull into the show. But I agree with you that like for a reality show, it has to be produced in some way. It can't be just like written or just like following people around, like a documentary.
Sure.
Because if you're just following someone around, it's a documentary, and if it's written, it's just a regular show. So it has to be like produced in a way where like the set, there has to be some sort of setup that's produced
Right.
and then followed through.
Yeah. Like this. Yeah.
It's definitely on some sort of line.
This to me is like it's in like the Jackass category, I think. Like they make the show, but like it's them out there doing these dumb things, but they make the show, right?
Right.
This is probably more written than the Jackass. Like
Yeah.
The jackass.
The jackass.
I do like that you called it the jackass.
The jackass. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the jackass show, and then I just kind of cut myself off.
It's kind of a different category. Anyway.
So, James,
Yeah.
would you want to be on this show? I believe that's the question you asked.
That was the question.
He's unprepared for this question.
I was. I didn't think we were ever getting back to it. I'm gonna say no. Like,
What would you be on this show? Would you be Renee? Would you be the skeptic, or would you be the believer?
James definitely yoo-hooing on this show.
no. Like that's the problem. Is like I couldn't even like be as good as Renee on the show. I'd just be like,
Renee,
I just don't understand. It's like Lindsay was like, or it's just the bear because you said there's a shitload of bears around. Like, there's just I would just be like,
Well, you're
okay,
making
so
a
there's
lot
this
of noise
thing.
for a bear to come around.
So you're saying you would be like the muscle.
No,
Like the enforcer.
No, they're just be like, hey, look at this footprint. I'm like, yeah, it looks like a full footprint. Like, why is it?
You're Matt Moneymaker, in other words.
No, because they're just all convinced by. They're like, oh, of course, yeah, that must be the thing.
Oh, so you're the
just-
hyper skeptic.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
like
the
a normal
ultimate
person.
Renee.
I just be like, what do you mean that? Like, who cares how far the thing anything can jump? Like, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean anything.
All right. So we should probably chat about like, do these people really believe?
Oh, that's
So
No.
Are they true believers?
There's no way. I don't think so.
No. I don't think you can make this show if you don't believe.
Do they not have a bone of skepticism in their body?
At this point, at this point they might not believe, but they think Sasquatch is out there. They know they're not going to find it.
How many seasons do you have to do a show before you're like, okay, maybe it doesn't exist?
No, I think they think it exists. I don't think you could do the
It's-
show without it.
I know, it's just
it'd be
this
so hard to do
fucking-
the show, and you're like, this shit is all bullshit. Kill me now.
It's
'cause this
fucking
is so
wild.
dumb. Like you couldn't do it. You couldn't do 5 seasons of a show
But,
where
you
you're
know-
like, that's constantly what you're thinking.
It's
But maybe,
unbelievable.
you start off believing as you fail to get those thermal images. You get a little more skeptical. But Animal Planet's just backing up that money truck more and more. And then you're just like dying inside. 'Cause you're like, I don't believe, but I need that green.
I think it's at some point if one of these guys pulls some sort of Chappelle and just like flies away to like
Africa.
Russia or somewhere to hide because they like hate their lives, then maybe. But I think
I don't know.
they
I don't
actually
think
believe.
I don't think Animal Planet's giving the Finding Bigfoot people Chappelle money. I'm gonna be the James skeptic on that one.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, how much does a flight to Russia cost? I'm sure they could pay enough for that.
just anywhere in Russia, or like just to
Just
Russia.
Moscow,
Okay.
So you're saying that
couple
they're paying
thousand?
them enough money to like do the show, but they don't believe, so they're killing themselves inside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So they're not.
No,
they're
no.
paying enough money for that.
No. I think that they're just writing like this entertaining show basically, and they've just like whipped up this frenzy about this Bigfoot situation intentionally. Like for their own profit of making this TV show.
I know. It's just I
Right?
don't.
Like that's I mean,
Well, kind of. I think some of these people, the way these people look, I feel like they do believe, and they make the show. And it would be really hard to make the show if you don't believe. Like at
What
least
if-
at the beginning.
it could be.
If Bobo is a Sasquatch, does that make him more or less likely to believe it?
Who knows?
Any last words on the show?
So I started thinking. I think I said this last night we were watching it. Was this sort of feels similar to like the flat Earth people, where it's like they just believe this thing, even though everyone's like, "What do you mean? Of course that's not true, you idiots! Like, what's happening here? There's all this other proof." But like, no, we got to prove it ourselves. So it's like the people building rockets. So I started wondering, like, would that be a show? Like, is there a show there?
Flat
Flat
worker
Earthers
force.
people.
There's probably that's probably
That's probably a
reality
show. Is it a reality show? Same question. Or is
No.
it just
No.
like a documentary of some people out in the desert?
I do love the concept though of like a show.
Like a flat Earth? Or?
No, where like a
How does
flat
it work?
earther, his goal in life is to get on a rocket and prove to himself that the Earth is round. Like he goes,
the Earth is round or the Earth is
no,
flat?
no, no, like he wants to disprove that it's flat or prove that it's flat. He
Right.
wants to get in a rocket and just fucking prove it.
Right, that's the real story.
That was in the news lately.
Yeah, I think that guy is an attention whore. He was not
sure.
a.
But you want the actual dude
So-
that
Right.
like believes that.
He wants a guy with his own reality show, not an attention whore.
yes, totally different.
Got it.
I don't
mean,
I don't know how you get that.
I'm gonna roll back to Bigfoot for a second.
Okay,
So the thing with Bigfoot is that you can't really prove that he's not a real thing. So I could see why you still keep believing that he's there, he's real, even though you haven't found him yet. Because like to prove something that doesn't exist is hard. Like you can't do it.
yeah.
So regardless of how many seasons you do the show, you could still have something in the back of your mind that believes it regardless.
No, sure. Like there are plenty of undiscovered species on the planet. Like there's no doubt about that. Like there, like
but
there
this
could
feels
be-
more like the UFO ones or whatever, like those
Oh,
shows,
it definitely,
right?
It definitely feels like that.
Like, oh, we saw that light. It's definitely a UFO. Everyone knows that they fly in the south in the summer. Like that's just everyone knows.
I don't think every show does that. I don't think every show
The
is like
alien ones definitely do
everyone
that.
knows that Sasquatch shaves his head in the summer, so clearly that bald, shiny head is clearly a Sasquatch.
Right. That blip on the therm is definitely a head
Or an arm.
or an arm.
All right, I have a question for everyone. What is everyone's favorite like myth or conspiracy theory?
Oh man.
Like,
I have an easy one I can start with if everyone is just lost for words.
Go.
I don't know
Max.
where you want to end up with this.
Okay, I'm gonna get it even stranger. Do you remember the Berenstein Bears?
Oh,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Spell Berenstein.
Isn't it Berenstein?
No, it's Stain. Stain.
You
Everybody
set him,
believes.
You set him up for that, though.
Did I though?
You
The
did.
Berenstein.
You said
The
Berenstein.
Berenstein Bears.
Yes.
It's Berenstein Bears.
Berenstain Bears.
So you mispronounced the name
AI.
intentionally.
I'm saying we are all in an alternate universe where the Berenstein Bears are now the Berenstein Bears, but everybody remembers it as the Steen Bears.
I don't know what Max is talking about at all.
So
what drugs are you on,
There's
and
a
where are
thing
they selling
of
them?
some
What's happening?
There's a couple famous things that lots of random people seem to believe, even though it's clearly not true. The better one is that there's a movie starring Sinbad where he's a genie. And many people insist this is true, even though it is not true.
Is there some dude that like looks like Sinbad?
No.
Are they talking about Kazam?
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
But that's not him.
that's Shaq.
That's
isn't it?
Shaq.
You are correct. There is a movie
But that's
with Shaq as a genie, but it is not Sinbad.
Okay,
But
so-
people insist that they strongly remember a movie starring Sinbad in the 90s where he was a genie, and it's not Shaq.
No, you know why else that is? Because Robin Williams. Wait, isn't it the voice of?
Whoa, microphone.
Oh,
voice of
I lost
what?
where I was going.
Robin
Robin
Williams.
Williams.
I was
Robin
really
Williams.
interested to see where that was going.
Maybe you get like your childhood movies mixed up, so you think the voice of like
The
the Aladdin
genie?
genie, like that just kind of melts with your thought of.
What does that have to do with Sinbad?
No, you just get like your 90s. I don't know.
No
your
one's
voice
even
is
seen
mixed up.
Kazam.
Everyone has
What
seen
do you mean?
Kazam.
Everyone has seen Kazam. How have you not?
So isn't there some other movie that's like title is Sinbad, but Sinbad isn't in it, and that's kind of about like
Isn't
Like
the
Sinbad
name
the Sailor?
Sinbad the
some
movie?
like some kind of genie stuff? I don't
I don't
know.
think there's genie stuff in Sinbad
Oh,
the
man.
Sailor.
First Kid, wasn't that Sinbad?
Sinbad the Sailor.
That was Sinbad.
Yeah, that was a good one.
He was not a
Classic.
genie in that one either. though.
Nope, he was protecting the
first kid.
Is there
First
any
kid. It was
good
like kinda, yeah.
Sinbad movies?
Jingle All the Way.
Jingle all the way. He's great in that movie.
You got.
Wait,
I don't like him in that movie.
isn't
But
Sinbad
so
also
good.
have a great spot in Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
He
There's
does.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one episode with Rob Thomas.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's like a good Sinbad thing. I like that a lot.
Shut up.
Too good.
So, would the show be better if everyone was naked?
No.
No,
You wouldn't have seen Matt Moneymaker's awesome jumpsuit.
Oh man.
that's true.
But everyone knows Sasquatches are more likely to come out when you're naked.
Everyone
Everyone
knows.
this. Everyone knows that.
Actually, it might help prove or disprove my Bobo theory.
He can't be naked because it'll prove he's a Sasquatch.
Right.
I kind of have a follow-up, but I'm not going there.
All right. So I have a minor update, I think, on our last show we watched,
Oh shit.
which is The Pickup Artist.
Oh,
How
man.
many
here we
episodes
go.
did you watch?
I didn't watch. We watched one more episode. I didn't watch
Right.
anything after that. I'm sorry, guys, that you guys missed this show. It
So
was fantastic.
Oh my god, I'm so excited for what Harrison's about to
I'm
say.
happy to tell you that I did listen to the pod on the plane on the way here, and I did watch the one episode of it yesterday. So I've
Okay.
seen an episode of it, and I listened to the pod. So
What's your rating?
oh man, I think I need like a little bit more time.
Sure.
But I like it's definitely feeling like a top third kind of show. It's pretty great. It's pretty amazing.
So
It's crazy.
As we were talking last week about how like this pickup artist game, at least back 2007 when the show was like aired, is a pretty scummy thing that they were doing.
Mhm.
And then episode 3 really shows why. It's really like the start. They like were teaching people how to neg women, and it was just like
Oh,
very distasteful. And
Oh,
like definitely
yeah.
put like a sour taste in my mouth for that show.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I was looking up. I'm not going to say who it is, but the winner of the show definitely has an actor reel before the show, before the whole reality show.
Oh no.
Interesting.
Oh no.
So I come into question how much the show is real versus, acted. So like,
Is this some kind of breaking Amish situation? You think?
I mean,
Oh.
I don't know if everyone has one.
What's the freak?
Breaking Amish, the show is fake. It's not. It's not.
But
real.
It's just it's
They're
a
all
it's a show
actors,
we've
yeah.
done on the show.
That's a
previously.
bummer.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Former
You
show.
can check out the pod. I don't know what number it is, but
Do you know what Breaking Amish is about?
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
Rumspringa. It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
kids like
Yeah, it's all
month
fake.
off.
No, it's not the Rumspringa. It's just like people
just-
that wanted to leave their Amish
Run away.
homeland. It wasn't the Rumspringa. I don't think. From what I remember.
Who knows?
Doesn't matter. So like, episode 3 was definitely still entertaining, but it a little soured on that show. And I think that when we go back to older reality shows, I feel like there was a lot more like acting and a lot more like fake stuff happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's something to be wary of when we watch older shows.
Yeah.
Not like Finding Bigfoot, where there's definitely no acting.
I mean, that was pretty obvious acting, whereas like in this, trying to make it seem like it's more reality. I mean, I've seen The Challenge this week.
Oh man.
I'm not going to spoil anything.
Don't spoil too much, but you can talk about it for
but
sure.
this season is pretty entertaining to watch because the challenge, like, vets are just destroying the
Oh, yeah.
All-Stars. Like, the quote unquote stars, The Bachelor is definitely, somebody from The Bachelor is definitely a star.
Yeah.
you
They had one of their best girls taken out by an injury.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they're still wrecking him.
Yeah, it is. The domination continues.
It's tough when T.O. just quits, when he just walks off the
Tio
set is the thing.
the only thing that could have saved them, and he just like walks off.
The fact that T.O. quit the game right before the slam ball challenge is the craziest thing ever. Like, T.O. could have been dunking over all these people.
I can't believe that CT won.
Yeah.
He won.
CT did what numerous NFL teams couldn't do. He made T.O. quit. It's crazy.
He got under his skin.
For sure.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other updates?
Do a quick follow up on Max already gave the "Are You the One" finale wrap
I can't
up.
believe it.
I can't believe it.
It's insane. There's a couple quick thoughts. One is we did see someone successfully go in the truth booth and get matched, and I was like, oh, I'm now interested to see what happens, and they just basically disappear. Like you're like, oh, they're going to this honeymoon suite. Let's go see what that looks like. You don't see it.
Yeah.
They
So I
just
was
walk
kinda
off into
disappointed.
the sunset.
They just show up at every lights show after that, and they're just
Mm.
there, and their beam's already on. And then
It's kind of weird.
if you've got a confirmed one and you only get one, you lose half the money. So
Ooh.
the ones you've already confirmed don't count to stop as a blackout. So
Gotcha.
That was an interesting twist. So, Harrison, who are your final challenge rankings? Who you expect to see in the challenge?
Oh man, I feel like I haven't watched enough of the of the end of the season
Oh,
to
I see.
really know about that. I'm still at least a few episodes behind, but what do you think?
I definitely have Keith as my number one because he single-handedly won them that money by sitting everyone down and being like, I think we should start using strategy. And they basically just had him figure it all out.
Yep.
And it was insane. But
Yeah.
he's also crazy. Like, he took someone's doll and threw it in a fire in a drunken rage when he was mad.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds like he's in.
And Michael, who I gave credit for having strategy earlier in the season, was definitely just trying to hook up with as many girls as possible
yeah.
and use strategy as his excuse, and is definitely a huge dick.
Oh,
but
no.
I still think he's in.
Oh,
'Cause
no.
he's unlike Kareem, he's entertaining, but definitely a huge dick.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it turned out when they got way out in the early, they had one light. So they only had one perfect match, and he broke up with his girl saying, "We only have one. What are the odds we're together? We should break up." They
Who
were
is
the
that?
only one.
Oh no.
And he was so mad when Keith was like, I think you're the one. You guys got to sit together. Every time he's just pouting, as this angry look on his face. He's like, man, how am I supposed to hook up with more girls? You're putting me back with this one. Like, it's so bad.
Oh my god.
They need Dr. Pepper on this show.
They do need Dr. Pepper. They did need to go into it. When they won, like, some of the broy guys rushed Tej, and I was worried Tej was going to get injured. Because I ran up to him to celebrate with him. And, like, I really thought his life was in danger.
I can't believe they won.
I still think that none of them are right for the challenge. I only saw that one episode, but them trying to shoot a bow and arrow, man,
They were very
that's
bad shooting bow
so
and arrow.
terrible.
They're definitely more there for the politicking than the
Like,
the
you know,
challenging.
but
Yeah.
the thing is, like, the challenge isn't about politicking, like, unless it's like a huge, like, a lot of influx of new people.
Right.
I
You know,
I feel
you
like
don't
they're
think
getting
CT
to
and
that
bananas
soon.
are like politicking anymore.
No, they're definitely not. Also, on the women's side, I think Gillesse made a strong move towards the end. I think
Okay.
Gillesse has some potential. And
she seemed pretty crazy.
she's definitely real crazy.
Yeah.
And she'd vacillate between being angry at what guys other women were talking to, and then talking to guys and getting other women angry at her. So I feel like that's some potential.
Nice.
And Nerys, who I liked early on, really disappeared the second half.
Yeah.
So I've lost some faith, but I'm based on the first half, that's my other one.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I think
I like
crowd favorite Olivia, spelled with an A for some reason.
Yes.
Oh,
is
yeah.
probably in.
But she wasn't, other than getting verbally harassed by Kareem, she wasn't actually in the very many episodes.
I agree.
All right.
Are they ever gonna have like a month where they don't have the challenge on? Like,
No.
is it just gonna be the challenge, these mini like challenges, and then the real challenge, then a mini challenge?
It never stops.
Mm-hmm.
So it just what do you think they do after Stars then?
I don't know. Like for the next mini challenge?
Yeah, they did Challenge vs. Pros. Now they did Challenge vs. Stars.
Champs versus losers.
Champs versus cons. what was that on the show we did one time? Chefs versus cons.
Cooks versus
cons.
Not that kind of con.
Oh, okay.
But maybe they just stick with Stars now, and they stick with the Miz as the temporary host.
can
And
see
like
it.
It seems like it's working
They want
out.
to banish the taste of Victor Cruz. They rebranded Pros to Stars.
Like I think that the problem with the stars thing is that like it's interesting if they're like star athletes or like former star athletes, but like the people who are not, it's weird. Like like
The
they're just
Bachelor
famous.
guy? Like what?
Yeah, it's like oh yeah, like it's interesting when like Jenna competes against like Shawn Johnson or something like that. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, so the Champs versus Pros, I thought had much better challengers. Like, it was competition was better.
Yeah.
But the Champs versus Pros or Champs versus Stars, like, they moved everyone to a hotel, which worked out really well. I feel like there's more like actual drama or bonding, whereas like the other one, everyone was just living at home. Like, there was no like outside of the challenges really. That was
Sure,
really-
yeah.
was interesting at all.
I got a proposal for you. Champs versus Ninja Warriors.
Oh man.
That'd be
I'd
pretty
watch
good.
that.
Do we pull the Sasuke winners from Japan or only the American Ninja Warrior winners?
Champs versus Ninja Warriors International. That's the second season.
That's the second season.
What about Champs versus Who Put This On?
Oh,
Yeah. Call us up.
CT is definitely killing all of us. So I'm guessing we're good to go. So you can find us on Facebook.com/whoputthison. You can find us on Twitter @whoputthison. You can email us questions and suggestions at whoputthison@gmail.com. And please rate us on iTunes. And we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.